Hey gang,
I'm Yvonne,
I'm Siobhan,
and
and
this
this
is
is
Vonne
Von
Plus.
Plus. And today we are back with the SB19 guide reaction. It's going to start with Pablo, and these are all by Cashual Chuck as requested.
Shout out to Cashual Chuck.
It's okay to make mistakes, but don't.
Dramatics.
Sino ang pinakamatagal mag-ayos?
Ay! Let's go! Hindi ko po hindi ako. I did unspeakable things talaga.
Chuck the fanboy reactor.
Everybody would love a taste of Pablo's life, having his own family business and the utmost respect from his co-members and fans. Pablo's life seems perfect, yet the truth is completely different. Not too long ago, he has been put in the shadows even though his role with SB19 is supposed to be significant. There were moments that his work wasn't even acknowledged. He is also seen as a member who has the strongest personality, which most people don't understand. But I'm telling you, Pablo's story is a revelation
Like when he
because
was
it proves
Sejun.
otherwise, and you're about to hear it. So sit back and enjoy because it's going to be a heck of a ride.
I love the documentary style.
Yeah.
Gianpaolo Nase was born and raised in Imus, Cavite. He's the second-born child along with two sisters and two brothers. Their mom took care of them while their dad provided for them financially from overseas. Pablo grew up as a shy kid who tends to space out, and because of that, he sometimes wandered off of their pack when they were outside. There was a time when their family was in the mall and he suddenly went missing. They panicked for a little bit, only to find him urinating on a plant in the corner. There was also another time when he fell into the canal. Pablo's childhood was never boring because he was surrounded by a loving family. As a
Sorry, onto the
teenager,
canal.
Pablo was very active in sports. In fact, he made it to his high school's varsity basketball team playing the point guard position. Behind the scenes, his passion for music got ignited when he found the hip-hop artists like Eminem, Glock 9, G-Dragon, Looney, and NF. This is when he started writing songs in secret as an outlet for his emotions.
So basically, the
He kept
lyrical
the dream
rappers.
of performing to himself because of his shy attitude. Most families in the Philippines believe that going overseas will set you up for life, and Pablo's family wasn't a stranger to that. He initially took up accountancy in college because the job was in demand abroad, but he immediately regretted it and felt that the course wasn't for him. He loved writing songs and wanted to get better at it, so he decided to shift his course to a Bachelor of Arts in English. This is when he started learning about poetry and different types of literature, which definitely played a big role in the future. In his senior year, his younger siblings started going to college as well, and their family's income was no longer enough to keep them all in school. So he started working as a call center agent at night while studying in the morning. He worked a full 9-hour
that.
shift and also full-time in school. Honestly, I couldn't imagine how he survived all that, but he did. He got his bachelor's degree in English, and according to some sources, if only he wasn't a shifter, he would have graduated cum laude. He's a smart dude for sure, and also a responsible one. He was so responsible that after graduating, he immediately went to work as a data analyst for a real estate company to help provide for his family. It was a stressful job, but he was able to cope by watching his favorite K-dramas. From then on, everything was smooth sailing. Until the big what-if started bothering
Park
him.
Sale June?
Side, he had this unfinished business of making music. So one day, he decided to follow his passion while keeping his full-time job. He started joining
This
rap
is
battles
crazy.
and competitions as a soloist. He initially wanted to use Seismic as the screen name, which has a double entendre for seismic. But he never managed
That's
to
what I
share
thought.
it because he is a shy dude, so he always ended up telling his real name instead. To this day, that screen name remained to be in Pablo's username on his social media accounts. If you want to know more about the meaning of it, check out the video I made about it. Link in the description. You can also join the highest tier membership if you want to support me and also be credited as one of the executive producers. Going back, Pablo kept competing despite not winning until one fateful night when Miss Honganda of Show BT found him in a contest. She offered to train him as a solo artist, but ended up becoming the leader of the boy group that would end up rewriting Filipino music history.
I thought he was supposed to be
They
solo
underwent a
first.
Korean training style that is
That's the
notorious for
same thing that
pushing
happened to
trainees to
GD.
their absolute limits.
That's funny.
Pablo reached a point that it became too difficult for him that he had to choose between his job and the training. Realizing that he was only half step in, he decided to go all in by quitting his job. He told his mom about it, and as expected, his decision was questioned. But she didn't stop him from chasing his dreams. With his job gone comes no income. Life became so hard for
That's what I
Pablo that
thought.
he had to skip meals and sleep in their camp just to extend his remaining money for commuting back home every few days because his home was miles away. In order to survive, he performed in different Korean events with his group called PHP, which was also composed of other ShowBT trainees. This went on for 3 years. Fast forward to 2018, SB19 was formed and they debuted with a song called Tila Luha, which was written by none other than Pablo. This was a song that was supposed to capture the hearts of the Filipino people, but sadly, barely anyone cared about it. The same thing happened to their second single, Go Up. This was supposed to be the time when he could tell his parents that he has finally made it, but instead, it became the reason why he started to question himself. This was a major blow to his confidence, so he shut himself off from the public and did some quote-unquote unspeakable things. If it wasn't for George and Pablo's faith in God, he wouldn't be here today. This was also around the time when he wrote the song La Luna, which exactly described the situation he was in. It's so wild knowing that his recent song actually came from several years back, and there's no telling how many he's already done because he describes
So
himself as
Josh
someone
stopped
who
him?
always writes music. When the Go Up dance practice video was uploaded, their popularity snowballed. A follow-up song was released called Alab, which was also written by him, but the fans noticed that something was wrong. Pablo's name was nowhere to be found in the credits, and when the movie Game Boys was released, SB19's Hanggang sa Huli was the original soundtrack, and it happened again. Twitter fans went ballistic, and there was even a movement that encouraged everyone to mass email ShowBT just to give him the credit he deserved.
Wow.
Thankfully, it was heard. If it wasn't for 18, maybe Pablo wouldn't have gotten the music royalties he has now. So what exactly is it that
SB
people
from the
don't
beginning.
understand about Pablo? Most
Now I
people would say
understand
it's
why
his
they go
sassy
so hard for
attitude,
Pablo.
but I beg to disagree. We learned in his story that he's arguably the most introverted person in this group, and Stel perfectly described it in this clip.
Nung una, ang weird niya po, nagsasalita mag-isa, parang bigla na lang siya nagagano. Sa isang tabi po, nakatayo siya sa gilid. Tapos may training kami, tapos biglang gagano. Tapos biglang gagano siya. Gagano po siya sa gilid. Sabi ko, anong ginagawa na? Nagre-ritual ba to sa gilid?
Some fans and even him also think that he's the worst dancer among them, but his co-members think otherwise.
I'm really bad at memorizing steps. Yeah, I'm really, really bad. So I
you're a good
take
dancer.
extra time.
But you're a good
practicing.
dancer.
Really?
Yeah.
He doesn't even tell us that he can backflip. He's also a gamer. He even used his favorite video game character as an inspiration for one of his songs. Talk about a game changer. Most people think he's a poet, but he describes himself more as a bard who tells his stories
Oh, I love
through
The
his
Witcher.
music. Music that transcends generations and is backed up by recognition.
The winner of this season of the Juki Music Awards is Pablo. Congratulations.
The winner of the Composer of the Year award goes to John Paulo Nasser. Congratulations.
He can sing, he can rap, he can shoot, he can pop, he can play, he can snap, he can flip, and he can't stop.
Now he can snap.
Pablo's mind is a race, and he's always 5 steps ahead of us. He does what he does because he strives for perfection, which brings us to the most misunderstood thing about him, his reputation as a genius. Sometimes it makes me wonder, why does Pablo keep on asking this question?
Why us? Why are we here right now?
The answer for me is the lesson I learned from his story. I learned that the person performs better when there's no safety net. He had no plan B. Pablo gave up everything and decided to go all in by focusing on getting better at his craft. He believed that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So he
True.
made the world his library to become the best version of himself and became the guy who worked while others slept. the guy who learned while others
That's
partied,
for the
the guy
birds.
who led while others followed, the guy who lived like others only dreamed of. A leader has the capacity to translate vision into reality. And that's the answer to Pablo's why.
Okay, Casual Chuck.
Yeah, that was really good. Like, obviously, it gave us a much deeper look at Pablo and a better
Very insightful.
understanding of like his personality. And one thing I noticed from the very first song that you guys requested us to react to by SB19, Dunka, was how many Pablo fans there are in
Yeah.
18.
From the beginning, it seemed like at first I thought it was skewed. I was like, is everybody here for Pablo? But I get why they rally around and support him so much.
Right, and why it's so important for them to make sure he gets his credit and
Right.
for reactors to acknowledge like this was composed or this was written, this was produced by Pablo, because
He was the vocal coach. Like,
for a long time, the beginning of their career, he wasn't given that credit. And if it wasn't for 18 raising their voices, he probably, maybe, wouldn't have gotten that credit at all.